Hello, people. This is Dave's Life Over 65. This time I'm dealing with an amateur radio thing. So if you're into camping and survival and bushcraft sort of things, might not be for you, but maybe it is, because that should be part of your preparedness, is some kind of communication system, whether it's amateur radio or GRMS, something like that you need to have. But we're talking now specific to licensed amateur radio operators. And what I'm going to do is show you the intricacies of trying to get the dv4mini stick to work. There'll be a video accompanying this shortly. This is more or less just a tutorial of what I had to go through to make this thing work. Okay, so right off the bat, let's start out by going to the dv4mini control panel. Now, again, right off the bat, I got to tell you, the dv4mini is a pretty strange animal when it comes to user friendliness. It's not. The software, at least, that has been provided for it has been pretty sketchy and pretty clunky. So let's get right into it. First of all, you might have heard the sound of my computer acknowledging that I plugged in a USB device, and that was the dv4mini. Just as a note, I have upgraded it to the latest firmware, which really improved it a lot as far as the noises that it made and some of the other problems we were having with it. However, the control panel software, the most recent one I could get my hands on, doesn't work very well, let's put it that way. Now, that's with Windows. I think that it's a wholly different story when you run it on a Linux machine like a Raspberry Pi. And we'll be going to do that in the next video. So first thing we're going to do is load up the dv4mini control panel. First of all, the software is not very well written. When you install it, it does not create any desktop icons, nor does it put anything in the startup file. You have to go looking for it. And of course, where Windows puts most of its programs is here in Program Files. And I already had some dv4mini stuff, so it just dumped it in there with everything else. There's dv4mini exe, and you can see it has March's date. Anyways, here's the new file, dv4mini exe. And I don't know what this is. This is something new as well. Anyways, let's run the dv4mini exe. Trust me, it is loading. Slowly, but it is loading. Okay, the little logo here on the left is the initialization routine, which includes loading a program called dv serial right there. And that is one of the biggest problems this particular software suite has, is that the dv serial exe loves to crash. Okay, there, we're loaded. Okay, so I've been playing with this. I tried to make a video earlier, and let's face it, it wasn't very successful. Alright, so what I did is I set it up so when it comes up, it automatically loads talk group 4999, and as you can see, that is extended routing, I should say. And what that allows you to do is run another program. Let me just run it again. It allows you to go into Brandmeister, their website, and if you can create yourself a user ID, and in about 24 hours they'll activate it, and then you can go in and use the self-help features. Okay, it's loaded. It's loaded all the configuration for the stick. Now, I don't know if you noticed the first time it came up, it was totally different. It came up in DMR Plus, and it automatically loaded the talk group 4999. at least so far this time, it's not doing any of that. I'll just give it a little more time just in case it's fooling around, but I don't think it is. So right there is problem one. When you boot it up, it doesn't always load the same place that it left off. In fact, this time it came up in D star, but it's not showing any connection, so that's good. Okay, so we'll go back to DMR plus. Okay, so you select DMR plus so that you're in DMR. Now DMR has 3 different modes as far as the dv4mini is concerned. And to get to those, you go to expert settings. And first thing you have to do is make sure you're connected to a D star server. Okay, that's a web server. That has to be selected. And I've noticed from previous experiences that sometimes, even though it's selected, it isn't actually loaded. So I'm going to use the US one, 3101. Okay, and Brandmeister is selected. So when we go back to the dv4mini control panel, you'll see the dv4mini, the main dv4mini talk groups, 4001 through 4999. Now this is the way it was about 3 years ago, and the software really hasn't been upgraded functionality wise for that point. So rather than do updates and write the program properly, what they did is they incorporated another talk group called 4999, and as you can see, it's extended routing. Okay, so we'll connect to that. Okay, it keeps telling us that the configuration is loaded successfully, which means it's reloading itself and reloading itself and reloading itself. It's really pretty sad. Okay, again, this is on the PC. It's a totally different ball game if you do it on a Raspberry Pi or some other Linux-based operating system. Okay, some of the pros for this control panel is if you're on a talk group and somebody comes on that has a QRZ or QRZ presence, you might get his picture up here. I prefer the messages because this thing has a bad habit of when you switch to something else, it tends to drop the connection to the LAN, to the server, I mean. Okay, so now that this is up and running, what we want to do is we want to go in and connect to Brandmeister. Okay, now from there, see, look. As soon as I left the control panel to do something else, it crashed and disconnected me from the talk group. Okay, now it's connected again, and now it's connected to the talk group. Now I'm almost certain if I go over here to do something, you'll see this crash. Anyways, the reason that's a big problem is because if you're using extended routing with Brandmeister, which I'm going to in this window, I'm going to go to services. There we go. It disconnected, see that? And it reconnected again for no reason at all. And we go to extended routing. Actually, let's go to the other extended routing, because with this one, the extended routing old version, you don't need to be logged into the Brandmeister customer service area. Okay. It looks like we're still connected for the time being, so we should be able to see our dongle, and there it is. Okay, we selected the dongle. Now where this number came from, I have no idea. Let's, for a laugh, connect to talk group 310. And incidentally, there's a lot more talk groups than TAC 310, I mean. There's TAC 310 through TAC 315, I think. So there's all kinds of missing reflectors, talk groups in here, but at least we can get these, okay? So I'm going to say okay. And it says saved. So that means now that we should be connected to TAC 310. Okay, now I want to run hose line. I'm going to open a different window tab for that. There we go. Connection lost, connection lost. Scanning for dv4mini. Disconnected. Okay. And this time it's not reconnecting. Oh, there it goes. I talked too soon. Okay, and we're getting this. It's constantly reloading the configuration file, which slows it down terribly. All right. So it's telling us that it's connected to 4999. Now, if everything is working the way it should, when we go to Brandmeister and we go to talk group 310, okay, Brandmeister is, there we go. Okay, hose line is hearing some traffic on talk group 310. And there he is. The open spot is transmitting, but I'm not hearing it. I have a MD380. So what I'm going to do is put it in promiscuous mode, because I have a feeling it's a okay, 4999 is not transferring it to talk group 9. So let's have another look at this time I'll go in through the there, you see they're talking about exactly what we're doing here. Now with Brandmeister you have to wait for this thing here to stop doing its thing and cross your fingers. There we go. Why does it see 2? Anyways, that's the one I think that we want it to go to. And here we choose that's nice. All right, now to get into the Shark hotspot, We go to this, in my case it's this address. Here we go. Okay, so you log into your SharkRF, and let's pick, whoops, oh, that disconnects it. Okay, let's pick TAC 310. Call.
So I'm just using the little, I guess they call it the flat pack duplex for the small.
And there you go. We're now connected to TAC 310. And if you want to go to the status page, you can see information like who it was. K4IOB is talking. We were listening to WB4Q OQF. It even tells you their names if they've put it in there. Okay. Okay, I guess we're recording. All right, so what you've seen is a comparison between the dv4mini and the SharkRF, which is across the room on the floor. I think there's no question about it. The dv4mini, although it works, is pretty, the control panel for it anyways, the software is pretty crappy. It doesn't work very well. It disconnects, especially on the PC. I did run it on the Raspberry Pi, and it was a lot more stable. At least it didn't disconnect from the server nearly as much. But we still ran into the problem with when you connect to the server for Brandmeister and try to manipulate the extended routing talk groups. Yeah, well, that wasn't the dv4mini or the Raspberry Pi's fault. It was the Brandmeister themselves. The server was so overwhelmed that it took like 5 minutes or more for it to switch talk groups, if at all. So the whole thing, the whole way of using talk group 4999 on the dv4mini control panel and then going into the Brandmeister services and changing it there under extended routing services just doesn't work. And you saw how when I switched to the SharkRF, it was 3 mouse clicks and bang, we were done. We were ready to rock. So I think the Shark just completely blows the dv4mini out of the water, not because the hardware's no good. I think it's not a bad little system, especially now with the new firmware, but the control panel software for the PC coupled with the Brandmeister server being so busy that you can't really do much with it after 4 o'clock in the evening makes it pretty much unusable as far as easily changing from one talk group to another. I suppose what you could do is you could run it on a Raspberry Pi, select the talk group that you want to be on and just leave it there. And if that happens to be one of the talk groups that's in the control panel for the dv4mini on the Raspberry Pi, then you don't even have to worry about going to Brandmeister, but it's just not very serviceable. The SharkRF, on the other hand, you just simply run the software, click on the connect button, the select button for the mode that you want to be in, go down to the next section and select the talk group and hit connect, and you're there that fast, literally 3 seconds. then you can shut down the control panel for the Shark, and away it goes. So, long story short, I would strongly suggest, if you want to get a hotspot, that you select the SharkRF, and I think you won't be sorry. If you have any comments or questions, just put them in the comments section below, and I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It just got a little out of control for me to keep two video blogs going, so I amalgamated the two of them in together, and that way I can post a video. This one would be, as I said earlier, would be of interest to amateur radio operators more than people that are out in doing bushcraft and that sort of thing. So, but you know, I think you might even find it interesting to see how digital radio is working. And I will do a video probably in the springtime. I'll go out and do some bushcraft practice, and I'll bring along my SharkRF and the little router that I use to connect to Wi-Fi with, and we'll show you how it works as part of that. So anyways, for those of you that are interested in amateur radio, I hope you enjoyed this. For those of you that have stuck it out so far that are not into amateur radio, thanks for watching. And if you wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up, I'd be happy. So as usual, bye for now. Take care and be safe. Merry Christmas, everybody.